Hi everyone, I'm Anita Sharma and you are watching AnewZ live from Baku. Here's what's making news right now. Kiev says more than 1 million Ukrainians are left without power following Russia's overnight missile strikes. Vladimir Putin warns Russia could target decision-making centers in Kiev with the new Oryshnik ballistic missile. France's 10-year borrowing costs match Greece for the first time ever, with the country facing political uncertainty. We begin with more than 1 million Ukrainians left without power following a massive Russian missile strike overnight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky claims the Russians used cluster munition and call it a vile escalation.
The Russian strikes on Ukraine on Thursday have hit key energy facilities. At least 1 million people in the west of the country are affected, according to local officials. The Ukrainian Energy Minister, Herman Galushenko, made the announcement on Facebook, saying it's affecting the power in the regions including Kyiv, Odessa and Donetsk. In the western Rionne region, around 280,000 homes are without electricity or water. That's according to the local governor. Similar outages were also reported in Lutsk, where heating and water infrastructure was impacted. In Kharkiv, missile strikes damaged a business facility and residential buildings. In Kyiv, many residents sought shelter in metro stations when the alarm was raised.
Our morning starts with checking for air alerts. I had to take my daughter to school, and when we saw the alert, we went to the metro. We're really fed up with all of this.
Russia previously staged 10 massive attacks on the country's energy infrastructure. Families fear that ongoing strikes will continue during the winter months, causing longer power outages.
Following the strike, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Moscow struck Ukraine with 90 missiles and 100 drones overnight. That in response to Ukraine's attacks using weapons from the UK and the US. Speaking at a session of the Collective Security Treaty Organization in Kazakhstan, Putin said decision-making centers in Kiev could become a target for Oryshnik, the new ballistic missile Russia used to attack the Ukrainian city of Dnipro on November 21st. Earlier today, U.S. media outlets reported that outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden is preparing a $725 million weapons package to further support Ukraine before he leaves office in January. The package includes anti-tank weapons ranging from mines, drones, Stinger missiles to HIMARS ammunition. It's the largest allocation by Biden using the so-called Presidential Drawdown Authority, which allows the U.S. to pull from its weapons stock to help allies in an emergency. Biden has an estimated $4 to $5 billion U.S. in PDA already authorized by Congress that he is expected to use before U.S. President-elect Donald Trump takes office in less than 2 months. The UN Security Council discussed the situation in Ukraine once again. As expected, countries were split over Russia's mid-range ballistic strikes and Ukraine's use of Western-supplied long-range missiles.
Concerns were raised at the United Nations Security Council about the escalation with the war in Ukraine. There are worries about the deployment of North Korean troops into the country. According to the United States representative, North Korea has deployed more than 10,000 troops, thousands of munitions containers and advanced weaponry into Russia. They also have concerns about the type of missile used to strike Dnipro. They say that Russia used a ballistic intermediate-range missile equipped with 6 warheads, each carrying 6 submunitions.
The location hit was reportedly an industrial area southwest of Dnipro city. According to the Ukrainian authorities, the missile was equipped with 6 warheads, each with 6 submunitions, and took only 15 minutes to arrive from the launch site in the Astrakhan region of the Russian Federation, some 1,000 kilometers away from Dnipro city.
Russia's representative dismissed all the accusations during the meeting. Moscow accuses Ukraine of trying to provoke NATO into the war.
The bankrupt Zelensky regime needs at any cost to drag NATO countries into a direct conflict with Russia in a battlefield. At any other scenario, he would be facing an irreversible and humiliating defeat that has demonstrated in the failed Kursk escapade of the Ukrainian head honcho, and the clear collapse of the front in Donbass that is being pointed out by all military experts.
Ukraine's envoy condemned the growing Russia-North Korea military alliance, warning of its implications for global security and calling for together sanctions and increased military aid.
We reiterate that Pyongyang's support comes at a price, and this is an access to Russian technology in missile, nuclear, and other military programs. It is crucial to understand that this price is paid not so much by Russia, but by the world.
North Korea's ambassador defended Moscow's actions, claiming they were acts of self-defense, while dismissing accusations of criminal collaboration.
Radical group Jamaat Ansarullah, also known as the Tajik Taliban, is preparing military operations in Tajikistan, according to Russia's Center for the Study of Modern Afghanistan. Mohammad Sharifov, also known as Mehdi Arsalan, has allegedly been appointed to lead operations along the Afghan-Tajik border and within Tajikistan. Information on the threat comes as the Collective Security Treaty Organization Summit in Astana adopts a program to fortify the Tajik-Afghan border. The organization's secretary says Afghanistan remains a base for terrorist organizations posing serious risks to Central Asia. In Syria, rebel forces launch a large-scale offensive against government troops in the Aleppo province. The assault involves a range of opposition groups, from the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham to the more moderate Free Syrian Army, once backed by the U.S. and Turkey. Opposition forces gained ground rapidly, capturing 13 settlements, including strategic towns like Urum, al-Sugra, and Anjara, as well as the military base known as Base 46. While the offensive's long-term potential remains unclear, it has exposed the fragility of government forces. Iran is set to meet with Britain, France, and Germany to discuss its nuclear program after the three countries joined with the United States to have Tehran censored by the United Nations Atomic Watchdog. Last week, the 35-nation Board of Governors of the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency adopted a resolution condemning Iran for its lack of cooperation on nuclear issues. Iran described the move as, quote, politically motivated and announced the launch of, quote, new advanced centrifuges designed to increase its stockpile of enriched uranium. Meantime, in Pakistan, the government is taking action against protesters who are calling for the release of imprisoned former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Officials are trying to regain control after violent exchanges with security personnel have led to fatalities, including 4 members of the security forces.
Pakistan's government has put in place a no-tolerance policy for future public demonstrations and protests in the capital, Islamabad. They have imposed a ban on public gatherings and protests in the capital for the next couple of months, citing security concerns. This comes after a crackdown on protesters calling for the release of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan. Khan has been in jail over multiple corruption charges, which his party alleges are politically motivated. Several people died in clashes since Sunday, including security officers and civilians, and dozens of people were injured. According to the Prime Minister, the recent protests have caused huge financial losses, and the country cannot afford to bear such a financial burden. The country is already grappling with an economic crisis, and these protests have seen further crashes in the stock market, deepening the country's financial woes. However, the government is facing widespread condemnation from human rights organizations for resorting to heavy-handed force against protesters from Imran Khan's party. For instance, Amnesty International is urging a comprehensive and transparent investigation over the number of casualties among protesters from Khan's party, PTI. The cricketer turned politician Imran Khan's party claims the government used ammunition and opened live gunfire on peaceful protesters, a charge that the authorities have denied. Analysts warn that the continuing political unrest is creating fear and uncertainty among the people, and both the government and Imran Khan's party must seek a political solution to bring stability. Hira Mustafa, AnewZ, Islamabad.
In Indonesia, rescuers are searching for flood victims in the North Sumatra province. Flash floods and relentless heavy rain triggered widespread destruction in the Sibolangit district.
Rescue teams in Indonesia raced to save lives after flash floods and landslides struck Sibolangit district in North Sumatra province, leaving devastation in their wake. Officials confirmed on Thursday, so far, the disaster has claimed 27 lives. According to Indonesia's disaster management agency, continuous heavy rainfall over the past week triggered landslides and severe flooding in 4 districts across the region. Footages from the scene shows roads submerged in mud, with large tree logs swept away by the flood. In response to the tragedy, authorities have postponed the regional election in Medan, the provincial capital, as the community focuses on making a recovery. Meanwhile, Indonesia's weather agency has sent warning alarms about extreme weather conditions expected by the end of 2024. The La Nina phenomenon, which intensifies rainfall across the tropical archipelago, is anticipated for the situation to increase in the coming months.
South Korea grapples with heavy snowfall for a second straight day, with dozens of flights canceled, ferry operations suspended, and at least 4 people reported dead in the cold snap. The snowfall in Seoul was the 3rd heaviest on record.
More than 140 flights were canceled in South Korea, and ferry operations were suspended across the country after 2 days of heavy snow. It's reported that at least 4 people have died due to the bad weather conditions. The storm, which began Thursday morning, is being described as the heaviest in over a century and the 3rd heaviest in Seoul since records began in 1907. More than 40 centimeters of snow piled up in parts of the capital, severely disrupting travel. However, by 10 a.m. local time, weather officials lifted the heavy snow warnings. As schools remained closed in some areas, authorities have advised residents to stay vigilant and avoid unnecessary travel until conditions improve. The heavy November weather is caused by warmer sea temperatures west of the Korean peninsula, mixing with cold air. As South Korea continues to recover from the storm's impacts, experts are monitoring the situation closely to assess any further risks in the coming days.
Over in India, toxic smog still covers New Delhi. The air quality index far exceeds normal levels, and residents are now concerned about the health impact.
The air quality index is usually 400 in New Delhi, which is at a severe level. However, on Thursday, it reached 476. This is close to a more hazardous level according to India's air quality statistics. This figure sparked frustration among residents with health concerns.
I do not feel like going out in the open, as it feels like Delhi has become a gas chamber. The situation has worsened, and you do not even want to go outdoors. The government is not able to control anything.
It is difficult to live in Delhi now. The pollution is causing a burning sensation in the eyes and breathing issues when you are outdoors in the morning and evening.
Farmers burning stubble are being blamed for the heavy toxic smog. The government says it's taking strict measures against this process. The National Space Agency has been asked to develop a system to monitor burnt areas and track farm fires.
In finance news, France's benchmark bond yield now matches Greece for the first time on record. The yield reflects the return investors can expect if they hold the bond until maturity, and it's a critical indicator of economic confidence and investor sentiment. While the rate on the 10-year French notes, traditionally considered amongst the safest in the euro area, hit 3.03%. amid escalating political uncertainty in France. That rate mirrors Greek bonds, which only last year were still classified as junk by major credit rating firms. France's 2025 budget is still not approved, and Marine Le Pen's far-right party threatens to bring down the government if her demands on the budget are not met. The Zugma Mosaic Museum in Turkey's Gaziantep sets a new benchmark by welcoming an unprecedented 442,000 visitors this year, breaking all previous records.
Since its inauguration, the Zugma Mosaic Museum has stood as a testament to Turkey's vast archaeological and historical treasures. Authorities say its growing visitor numbers underscore the enduring appeal of ancient art and the importance of preserving cultural landmarks. The unparalleled collection of ancient mosaics, including the iconic Gypsy Girl, continues to draw both domestic and international attention. Officials say that the milestone of 442,000 visitors shows how pivotal the museum's role is in promoting the city's rich cultural heritage. Gaziantep is situated in southern Turkey and is famous for its cuisine and historical sites. It's now fast becoming a focal point for global travelers seeking to explore the country's ancient past.
That's all from us now. Thank you so much for watching ANewZ. Coming up next, the News Hour with Guy Schoen.